Hello everyone, welcome back to present day Super Mario Brothers. In this part, we're continuing with the stuff we were doing.
So, sorry. What is that winged block thing?
It's just like a little bonus.
It's a bonus item that appears in any level that's hovering over.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's just them trying to emulate some of the elements of Super Mario Brothers 3, specifically, where stuff on the overworld moved around. It's not really as dynamic as that game though, where like stuff moved around a lot and it changed like how you actually progress through the overworld. This game, it's very much just the overworld is a way to get from level to level, and these little things are just like a little bonus. It is, however, one of the only ways you can get the shell power up, which is like really hard to get otherwise. And it's a fun power up. It's just I wish that there was more to do with it, because the level design in this game is much more based around like running and jumping and small like platforming sections, which doesn't really gel well with a power up where you go straight and can crash through stuff. You know, there's like not a lot of instances where there's like 4 Goombas in a row that you can spin through with the shell, for example.
It's a very grounded game,
Yeah.
because there's no Tanuki leaf or cape or anything that requires you to be in the air for a long time.
Honestly, that's part of why I like it, because in I'm just gonna use the other new Marios as an example. Like, you can just skip so much of the level when you use like the propeller suit or the squirrel suit in the other new Mario games, and I appreciate.
I think that was like the conceptual name for one of the games, actually. Other New Mario.
Other new Mario, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't wait for them to do New Super Mario Brothers 3, which is the 6th game in the series, just to dig with us.
Also the sequel for a third game, possibly New Mario Brothers.
New question mark Super Mario Brothers?
Yeah, I was gonna say new with the question mark.
I mean,
New, Mario Brothers!
You say that, but like we all know at this point that Galaxy 2's conceptual name was like Super Mario Galaxy More or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's exactly that.
Yeah, but that was meant to be like an expansion pack in the style of like the 2000s PC games, you know, not a full game.
You know what? I do not buy that it was meant to be an expansion pack.
Well, that's the story that they give us at the very least.
I don't buy it because the Wii was not built for expansion packs. Like, the way it runs downloadable games and content is terrible.
Well, no, who's to say that they were gonna like sell it as downloadable content or anything like that? They're probably just gonna release it at a smaller price with like a few more levels they couldn't fit in Galaxy 1, and then they realized, no, we might as well just make a whole new game out of this.
Yeah, that is how like expansion stuff was done on the PC for a long time. Like, if you bought Age of Empires 2 and then bought Age of Empires 2 the Conqueror's expansion pack, it was its own disc with its own content that could be played on its own, but if you have the full game, you got even more stuff.
But like that was because at the time, like, downloadable stuff wasn't really easily accessible. So
yeah, but Lewis, as you know, Nintendo works 10 years behind the current technology. So then doing an expansion pack style from the year 1996 makes sense.
But like even in those cases, though, when you bought an expansion for an existing game, it was something you installed into that existing game on your PC.
Right.
Depending on the game.
I think some of them could be run on their own, but most of them, yes.
Some of them, maybe.
But Lewis, like, you going into this is probably the reason why they decided not to release it.
Now that I think about it, the only game series I can think of off the top of my head that where the quote unquote expansions can be run as similar games are like the King's Bounty titles.
I guess the Half-Life 2 episode 1 and 2, although that was fairly late too. Those games came out around the time Mario Galaxy did. So
what about New Luigi U or some other shit?
Oh yeah, that was kind of the same idea, but New Luigi is kind of lame. You know, I mean, I guess that doesn't change like what we're talking about, like what it is and isn't, not the quality of it. It is basically just an expansion pack of New Mario U. You know, it's just shorter levels on the timer with Butterfeet Luigi. You know, it's just that the expansion pack itself is very, very lame.
Okay, so
this is my favorite boss in the whole game. Where there's a Goomba and then he's a big Goomba.
And you beat him all the same way. Just bop him on the head.
I think if you bring a Mega Mushroom into this fight, you can just like walk through him and win automatically.
Yeah, you could walk through him or at least one-shot him.
Yeah.
Because you're a big dude.
One of my favorite things about this game, and part of the reason why I like it more than the other games, is that there are real bosses in this game that like take some thought. I mean, they're easy, don't get me wrong, but I really like the unique bosses in this game.
No, Koopalings for the next 3 games.
I don't really like the Koopalings. Now, granted, the Bowser Jr. fights in this game that you do on every tower suck. They're like among the lamest boss fights in Nintendo history. So I always thought that what they should have done is, if they're gonna have the Koopalings be back, have the Koopalings be the mid boss.
Tower.
Yeah, and then do original bosses for the end. Like, I think that would be cool. You know, they're probably the best boss fights in any 2D Mario game, because it's not like Mario 3 or World had good bosses at all. Mario 1 had a boss fight singular. I mean, do we want to count Mario 2? Because, like, I guess there's more variety, but you'd kill them all the same way.
On the subject of Mario boss fights, can we please stop, like, tributing the goddamn bridge boss with Bowser? Thank you.
It's iconic, but I agree that it's overdone, and it's just kind of not... It's not conducive to making interesting bosses, because it's not designed in a way that modern boss fights go.
This game specifically was the last time they did anything clever with it. They had you dunk Bowser in lava and then played it straight by having his flesh melt off, and then he comes back as dry Bowser, right?
Yeah,
or something.
at the end.
Yeah, so that's a good joke. I like that joke. But it's the one good joke that you can possibly do with the concept, and we've done that joke, so...
I mean, honestly, now that you think about it, the idea of Dry Bowser is something straight out of, like, a Newgrounds cartoon. Like, you'd have a Newgrounds cartoon where Mario, like, drops the bridge, and then Bowser goes in, and he's just like, oh my god, You know, that probably is a Newgrounds cartoon, now that I'm thinking
Well, it was startling, like, my first time playing this game. Watching Bowser actually become dry bones.
Bowser canonically dies in this game.
Yeah, like he just straight up fucking dies.
Yeah, that's dark.
Like in the lava pit. It's like
in Mario Brothers 1, I believe the explanation was that it wasn't really Bowser most of the time.
No, according to the manual and other things within, whenever Nintendo brings it up, is he used magic to turn his grunts into copies of himself to make it look legit, so Mario would go to try to save the princess, and it's not, because the princess is always in another castle.
I mean, they do add that detail into the main game, where if you kill him with fireballs, like, his corpse will be like a Goomba, then a Koopa, and then go through all the different enemies until you actually get to real
Except
Bowser.
World 8. World 8's the only time where he says Bowser.
Yeah, which I guess is
there is merit to that.
That is a neat, like, little detail, I guess, that you wouldn't expect from a game from 1985. So that's cool. But yeah, like, Mario boss fights, the 2D ones have always been kind of lame. I mean, the 3D ones at least try to have some sort of size and grandeur to them, even if they are always dodge the attack, then jump on them, repeat 3 times, and you win. Kind of fair.
I mean, I'd say Galaxy and Galaxy 2 probably have the best overall bosses in the series.
Odyssey definitely, I think, Odyssey did a good job with that. I mean, Mario Galaxy is definitely very formulaic with the bosses, but they are at least fun on their own merits, even if it is, you know, the same sort of idea over and over again. And again, no Mario boss is really all that hard, but I don't think that's a bad thing.
I'd say the only, Boulder Guys with 1 HP.
Oh yeah, that one's pretty tough, but that's just because you can't make a single mistake. Like, I think even if you took an easy game, like, say, the original Kirby's Dream Land, and be like, beat this game without getting hit once, and you would probably find that pretty challenging, I would imagine.
Great. Elevator sequence.
Yeah. When you guys, how often do you guys go back to any of the new Mario games? Like, just
I haven't played one in years.
You haven't played new
The
Mario
only
one
one
in
I've ever-
or years, or
I haven't
any
played
of them?
any new. I haven't played any new.
Well,
Mario.
I mean, the only thing that I particularly like about 2D Mario games that sets them apart from 3D Mario games is the power-up system. and 3D World gives me that, so I don't really go back to 2D Mario much.
Like the only game that I play anytime recently with this aesthetic is Mario Run on mobile phones.
I mean, for my part, I don't actually like have much nostalgia for 2D Mario because I never had the older Nintendo systems. So I got into Mario with Sunshine. 3D Mario is my jam.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, I appreciate, like, Mario plays faster than I think a lot of people kind of give it credit for, you know?
Yeah,
Which is
yeah, it
part
does.
of why I like this one so much, is because you can kind of run and go at a pretty good pace versus something like World. I find myself stopping and looking for stuff a lot more. You know, it's not like
I think
there's
one of
blast
the-
processing or anything.
I think one
but-
of the definite perks of the Mario 3D World remaster is that they upped the speed for everyone, so it feels a bit more in line with the kind of pace you'd expect from a game of this type.
Yeah, I haven't played the remaster yet, but I think that would help because part of why I didn't like 3D World all that much was that it was like 2D Mario in style, but it felt sluggish, so it wasn't the same kind of
Well,
energy.
I think even Peach is faster than Toad used to be. So
Wait, really? Oh my god. Then that's a lot faster.
yeah.
Then jeez. Okay. I still don't want to pay $60 for it though, and Nintendo will
I mean, that's fair.
Nintendo
I
will
think
never
you would
lower
like
the
Bowser's.
price.
I think you would like Bowser's Fury.
Dude,
though.
I was so tempted to buy the
I
game
think
just for
the-
Bowser's Fury. It
I
looked
think
so
the
cool.
I think the combination of the improvements to the main game and Bowser's Fury do make it worth the price, to be honest. But you know,
I just
everyone's mileage is going to vary on that point.
I think my problem is that I ended up buying New Mario U again for full price. And I was like, you know what? Maybe this game's better than I remember. A lot of people say, oh, this one's really good. I'll go and give it back another try. And I was so bored I didn't even get halfway through it. And so I'm like, no, I'm not buying a game I already own again.
To be fair, I think 3D World always had a bit more going on than.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's one of those things where I think I like Mario U more than Mario 3D World, but even though I don't really like either all that much. But with that said, I definitely acknowledge that 3D World is a much more ambitious and probably better game than Mario U, like in almost any.
But
respect.
there's also the fact that like when they added Bowser's Fury, they essentially added an entirely different kind of game to the game.
It's
like
they're definitely trying things out for whatever 3D Mario sequel they wanted to do in Bowser's Fury, and it looked really, really cool. Like having, instead of like a Mario 64 style, okay, here's a bunch of different levels that are a sandbox. Okay, here's a world that's a sandbox, and it's the entire game.
It's like they took like a chunk of Breath of the Wild and tossed it in a blender with Mario Odyssey and New Super Mario Brothers, and the result was and they just tossed in a cat suit for no reason.
Yeah, the result was cats.
That's my favorite thing about Bowser's Fury. Bowser's Fury gives you 3D Mario with power-ups, like that are not at all situational.
You see, I never found that to be super like enticing to me.
Yeah, because it's like the power-ups are still fairly situational. What are you going to do with the Tanuki suit in that than you're not already doing in 3D World? The answer is not much, honestly.
I think it gives you plenty. I like the kind of approach options it gives you for handling different tasks. Because sometimes you want the Tanuki suit for this particular sign, or you want.
I mean
Fire Mario
that's what they do in normal, 2D and even 3D World and Land. It's like
We're not talking. Yeah,
you
2D, sure, but not
go in-
3D. I feel
No,
in 3D that hasn't been really done yet.
I mean 3D Land and World.
3D Land and World are like fundamentally linear platformers, though.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
when
but
you get-
again, my point
when
is
you get the ability to fly or hover or whatever in a linear game, essentially it's a skip level button. When you get that ability in a more open, explorative game, it's suddenly a new way that you can explore a non-linear environment. You know.
That is true. I guess the thing for me is that I never really minded the way they did power-ups in like Galaxy, for example, because I didn't view them in the same light as power-ups in 2D Mario. I just viewed them as like a change of pace, you know, not unlike a vehicle section, for example.
Yeah, but that's kind of the thing. In 3D Mario, when you do get those kind of power ups, generally speaking, it tends to feel more like a specific level's specific set piece.
Yes.
Odyssey's a bit
It
odd.
is tied to that design.
Odyssey's a bit odd
Odyssey.
in that respect because
Yeah.
Odyssey has more. Odyssey actually gives you more freedom with how you use your captures and where. So it kind of hits a really sweet middle ground there. But it still ties them to specific levels at the very least. So there is some restriction in how you apply them.